welcome to the Witch's Cauldron. My name's Paula. Today I wanted to go over some of the planetary alignments and the corresponding astrological influences there will be in play on Samhain 2019. We've got a couple of really interesting things going on. The first thing being that Mercury goes retrograde on Samhain. And a lot of people really freak out about Mercury retrograde. And this one I don't think is going to be that bad. I'm going to link my video on the Mercury retrograde that we're about ready to go into down in the description box. And I'll throw it up here in the cards. So let's start off with what's going to be going on. First off, the sun is in Scorpio. The sun in Scorpio indicates to us, with respect to Samhain, to use good judgment, especially when you take a lot of the other alignments into consideration, especially Mercury being in retrograde on Samhain. Scorpio reminds you to be kind. And it's also, Scorpio also often means that you're very good at concealing your feelings. Even though you may feel very justified in lashing out at someone, considering that Mercury is in retrograde and will involve a lot of issues with communication, be it interpersonal communication, communicative devices, and everything like that. You need to kind of think before you speak and before you let the venom of Scorpio out on someone, because you can't take the words back. So it's kind of a cautionary thing. So next, let's look at the moon. The moon is going to be in Sagittarius on Samhain. And this Sagittarius is a lot about belief systems and philosophies, and putting purpose to your life meaning. And at Samhain, we often do a lot of introspection, and this is a really good time to kind of take stock of your belief system, your philosophy, the dogma in your spiritual path, to see if it still really fits you, or do you need to do a little tweaking and maybe go off on a different path, or make a change to your spiritual practice. Sagittarius is also encouraging like travel, and Mercury retrograde is opposite this, because Mercury retrograde, you typically don't want to take any big long trips or anything like that. So Sagittarius is reminding you not to take any unnecessary risk during this time. Okay, so Mercury, here's the big one. Mercury is going to be in retrograde on Samhain. Samhain is the first day of Mercury retrograde. At the time that I am filming this on October 24th, we just began Mercury storm. We've been in Mercury shadow since toward the beginning of the month, as Mercury is preparing to go retrograde. And Mercury in Scorpio is about mysticism, the occult, looking back, fixing old emotional wounds, fixing relationships that have been broken. It's reminding you to bring some reconciliation. Normally a Scorpio, once they're done with you, they're done with you and it's over. But Mercury in retrograde reminds you to be very deliberate about how you communicate and to keep that Scorpio venom in check. Venus is also going to be in Scorpio. This is about the power of love. Okay, so it can also mean resurrecting an old relationship. There could be someone from the past coming back, someone that you love, not necessarily in a passionate manner, but can also be someone who you were once very, very close to, that the relationship is now broken. Mars is going to be in Libra, and Libra is a sign of balance. And Mars is about getting what you want, okay? But with it being in Libra, it's reminding you to have some balance, to really take stock if what you want may have adverse impact on the others around you, okay? Jupiter will be in Sagittarius, and Jupiter is about growth, expansion, laws, your faith, and your ethics. Sagittarius is directing you, especially on Samhain, to take stock. To take stock of your faith, of your practice, and even reconnect if you have been kind of distant from your practice or your spiritual path, to try and reconnect with it, okay? Jupiter is also a planet of expansion. So this can mean, you know, exploring other careers, other avenues, exploring your faith, your spiritual practice, trying new things. And, you know, this is particularly poignant at Samhain because it is our new year, okay? Maybe you need to try something new and expand your horizon through experience, travel, or, you know, your faith, your base of faith. Saturn is on order and being restrictive. And Saturn is going to be in Capricorn. And this is encouraging you to keep track of your goals. So since Samhain is the witches' new year, a lot of witches and Wiccans do their goals for the coming year. So this is reinforcing that need to set reasonable goals, and then to also, because Mercury's in retrograde, to take stock of the prior year and to realize the lessons that you should take away from your experiences of the past year. Uranus is about it's like the planet of chaos. It's freedom, it's revolution, and it's a very, very slow moving planet, and it is in Taurus. And Taurus is, you know, a lot about, you know, finances and property. So during this time, while Mercury is in retrograde, you don't want to execute any kind of like legal contracts, but you do need to take stock of your finances, and you may be looking for a new residence or, you know, buying a new home. You just don't want to do it while Mercury is in retrograde. It's telling you to kind of wait until after November 21st, when Mercury turns direct. Then the 21st through the 28th, it's in Mercury storm, and then after that, you know, you're pretty good to go. This is a reminder that to not be afraid to take a look at the conventions that are in your life, the norms, the established norms, and to see if there are things that you need to change through new practice, and especially where it comes to your finances and your material stuff, okay? Taurus and the earth signs are generally about, you know, abundance, material things, wealth, personal gain, and stuff like that. Neptune is in Pisces, and Pisces is its home sign. This Neptune is about spirituality and imagination, but it can also be a planet of illusion. So with it being in Pisces for Samhain, and Neptune is another extremely slow moving planet, and it can be in this sign for years and years, okay? It reminds you to be sympathetic and charitable. It's also about the mysticism, you know, the power of prayer, the power of the practice of your craft. I often call spells prayers with props, so that my Christian friends understand where I'm coming from when I say I'm doing a spell about something. And again, it's very effective when attached to a goal, those spells and prayers. So this could be, you know, for the coming year and for Samhain, for you to take stock and really pay attention to doing ritual and spells to bring about goals that you have set for the coming year because of Samhain, the witch's new year. Pluto, yes, Pluto is still a planet where astrology is concerned. Pluto is about transformation, regeneration, power. It's death and rebirth, okay? And it's a very slow moving planet also. And it is in Capricorn. And this is about personal transformation and evolution. So again, you're taking stock of what's gone on in the prior year, setting your goals as a person, spiritually, monetarily, financially. It's all about taking stock and being very reflective about all the aspects of your life, okay? And it is encouraging you to transform yourself and evolve to a higher state, okay? It's to really recognize those life lessons that you have been taught and to appreciate them for what they really are. My mother used to say that in everything that happens to you in life, there is a lesson and a blessing to be had from it, whether the experience was good or bad, okay? You know, I have been present for the death of both my father and my sister. And I was able to find the lesson and the blessing in both of those because they were both unexpected, very sudden deaths. And they weren't necessarily pretty deaths. But, you know, with my father, his sudden death kept him from suffering from the cancer that he was battling. And, you know, with my sister, she was battling COPD and was, you know, in a very advanced state of COPD, and she passed from pneumonia. And that kept her from going through a lot of stuff that was happening within her family unit. It spared her a lot of pain concerning her children that she would have been here for in the past few years, past 3 years. So even though those experiences for me were very, very painful, I found the lesson and the blessing in them that I was supposed to find, even though at the time they were pretty horrific events in my personal, assessment of things. They made me a better person and helped me to evolve and become a better person. So that's what Pluto is really having you focus on, death, rebirth, to explore past lives. Are there, you can try and do some past life regression and see if there are lessons that you have been picking up through your lifetimes. And then looking at everything kind of holistically to see what, you were supposed to bring forward with those lessons and how you can use those lessons to evolve to a higher state and to be a better person. Now the North Node is in Cancer. The South Node is in Capricorn. So the North Node is about conflict inside family and profession, home and the public, things like that. So this is really tying in with the Mercury retrograde, where communication is key, and misunderstandings can happen. So there can be a lot of conflict in amongst your family or at work. Having that life-work balance get out of whack. And this is just a reminder, again, to take a moment and step back before you lash out with that Scorpio venom that is driving Mercury right now, before you lash out and say things that you can't take back. Okay? Lilith. And that is about fascination and denial. Okay? Some astrologers don't pay any attention to Lilith because it's kind of like a fictional point. But Lilith, it will be in Pisces. And that's about self-sacrifice and blending into others, and also having prophetic visions. And it makes you more able to feel connected to that universal energy and power. Okay? And again, that fits in with the Mercury retrograde, the whole vibe and meaning behind Samhain, with, the death of the god to be reborn at Yule, with the goddess being in her, crone phase during this part. And, it fits in with mystical ways of, say, energy healing and also prophetic visions. Okay? And it also is a reminder to beware of alcohol and loss of consciousness. So those are a couple of warnings right there. Chiron is your inner teacher, and Chiron will be in Aries. Chiron is an asteroid that is between Saturn and Uranus, and it serves as the bridge between the material and the spiritual world. Okay, in mythology, Chiron was a healer and a wise teacher. So when Chiron is in Aries, you may feel like no matter what you've done, when you're doing your assessment of your goals for the previous years and setting your goals for the next year to come, you may feel like you were not successful, that you may feel like you were a little traumatized and you feel like a failure. But it's a reminder to not feel that way. You may, however, since there is a focus on life-work balance, you may be putting in too much work at work, and home will suffer. So that's one of the warnings of Chiron being in Aries. So with that, overall for this Samhain, Mercury retrograde is a wonderful time, especially to do work with your ancestors. This Mercury retrograde in conjunction with Samhain is the perfect time to set up and do have your ancestors or loved ones who have passed away on your altar, or make an ancestor's altar, and to do appreciation for those who have come before you. You may consider, as part of your Samhain tradition, to have what is called a dumb dinner, and or a dumb supper. And what I do is I go ahead and I fix my Samhain feast, my Samhain dinner, but I set an extra plate for the ancestors who have come before. And then at the end of the evening, I take the contents of that plate and I put it outside for the universe, okay, for the ancestors. And, you know, I go back and I retrieve it in the morning if there's anything left. And then I take whatever is left and bury it with the remains of things from my altar, from Samhain, from my cauldron, and things like that. It is also a good time for goal establishing and for assessing where you are, and a lot of introspection, and that is reinforced by Mercury retrograde. So those should be the overarching influences for developing your Samhain ritual: ancestors, reflection, and goal setting. So with that, my friends, I hope you found this helpful. If you did, please be sure to give the video a thumbs up and subscribe before you leave. I would appreciate that. About 60% of the people who watch my videos aren't subscribed, and I would love to have you become part of the family, part of the little coven here that we have developed. And with that, my friends, blessed Samhain, and merry we did meet, merry we will part, until we merry meet again. Be well and walk in love and light, everybody. Bye.